Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, are these crazy times, folks? I don't know about you, but I go up and then I go down and I go up and I go down and I think, oh, this is getting better. And then I think, no, I think it's getting worse. And will this ever end? That's become my motto. Will this ever end? You know, this program is brought to you by an organization called Million Kids, Million. Million Kids is an amazing organization. I happen to be the president and CEO of it, so I'm a little bit prejudiced, but it's been in business now for 12 years. We have never seen anything like we're seeing today. You know, I keep thinking our organization is supported by my especially going out and making public speeches, and I've been doing that for 12 years. Sometimes we train 50 people, sometimes 300 or 400, and a few times in the thousands. And we sell our books, Seduced and Societal Shift, and people donate and we get speaker fees and we sell our books. And that's how we pretty well support our organization. Our organization is really dedicated to keeping kids safe from predators. We deal with things like child pornography, which is just a sad, disgusting phenomena taking place over social media, where literally millions of kids are having their naked photo sold out into the dark web and into child pornography rings. We take calls from parents. I've had several this week that are really disturbing, you know, because we have so many kids right now with this COVID crisis online, and they take chances. They get bored. They post things like, I'm bored, or my dad's unemployed, or, you know, I've got the flu today and I'm staying home. And all of those are just invitations for pedophiles to hook up with them. And so we're very busy right now as we're dealing with kids who have naked photos, and we're dealing with the parents of that. It's just is staggering. I can hardly explain to you what it does to a family when they find out that their child has been lured into sending a naked photo. They go through all kinds of craziness. They really, really do. They blame the child, they blame the pedophile, they blame the app, they blame the phone, they blame the husband, they blame the wife. They blame. But in the meantime, what is happening is so many of our kids are going on the World Wide Web without understanding how it's made, and really without understanding where naked photos go when you hit send. And more important, how your life is going to change once you do hit send. And that's the work of Million Kids. That's when we get involved, is to connect them to the right police agency and connect them to the right therapist, and to try to save the marriage, and more important, to be able to try to save the self-image of the person that's being exploited. You see, we're putting our kids on the internet long before they get their sexual identity or their moral identity. And many of these kids have no idea what adult sex is all about and what it should be all about, that it can be a healthy and bonding kind of situation with respect. But they fall in love on the internet, and these people convince them to, you know, that they're going to be special. And the thing that I see that really just tears at my heart is that these kids go online and they meet somebody, and that somebody convinces them that that the child is going to be very special. Well, when you put a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid on there, what do they want? They want approval. That's how kids think. They haven't been through puberty. They don't know what pedophilia is. They don't know what adult sex is, or why this person's trying to make out that they're so special. They just want to please that person that they believe is on the other end. I talk about that. It's a fantasy relationship. They make this stuff up, and they fall in love, and then they send that photo, and the blackmail begins. And so before they've ever been able to have a first sexual experience, for most of our kids, their first sexual experience will be a virtual sexual experience. And if it's one that's negative, if it's one where they're calling the kid names after they get the photo, or they want more photos and more derogatory photos, the kid is changed forever before they ever get a positive self-image. Before they ever go through puberty, they're already a victim of sexual exploitation, all because we put them in an environment where nobody explains to them how the thing is made, and that they're on the World Wide Web. It's not called the US web. All of us think we have a right to privacy. If you're on the World Wide Web, it is not called the US web. It's called the World Wide Web, and there is no privacy. And before our kids understand the environment that we put them in, we just put them out there and say, you be careful in that thing now. And my kid's smarter than most, and I think he'll or she will do good. Doesn't work that way. They are still kids. And then when they get violated or duped, they go through a depression, a loss, the same as if they broke up with a kid down the street. And they won't tell. Most of the time they won't tell. The reason for it is that, you talk to an 8-year-old who sent a naked photo out to some creepy old pedophile, and you'll say, why didn't you tell mommy? And the kid will say, well, I didn't want to get the man in trouble. He seems like a nice man. That is because we're putting children in an adult environment without equipping them to understand the world they live in. And so that is the work of Million Kids. That's what we're here for. That's what we do. We set with parents. We set with kids. We take leads. We are the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force. And that's an amazing organization. It really is. If you know of anybody that's being trafficked, you might in Riverside or San Bernardino County. The hotline number for that is 1-888-373-7888. 1-888-373-7888. Riverside and San Bernardino County are very, very fortunate to have excellent law enforcement. We have we have Sheriff Chad Bianco and in Riverside, and you have the San Bernardino Human Trafficking Task Force out of San Bernardino, and they're amazing men and women. Law enforcement's taken a heck of a beating, but I'm going to stand right up for them. You have some amazing chiefs of police in our local communities that care, that have gone out and put their lives on the line. And even right now, though they're getting beat up in the media, they are the ones that are putting their lives on the line day and night and going out there. I'm proud as I can be of Sergeant Sawyer over at the Riverside County Human Trafficking Task Force. He leads that task force, an amazing man who does tremendous work and leads a team of men and women that go out in the middle of the night and go after the worst of the worst. These sex trafficking cases are tough. They really are tough because so many times it's our teenagers that fall in love, go on that internet, meet some guy, sneak off. The next thing you know, they're being sexually violated and they're being put out into forced commercial sex. And that is how sex trafficking works. Human trafficking is the fastest growing crime in America, and California is the #1 state. Riverside County is especially blessed to be able to have a grant, a federal grant, that we're one of 3 agencies in all the United States that has had a third grant from the U.S. Department of Justice. And part of that is because my boss is a good grant writer, but part of it is because we do a tremendous amount of high quality work in your community. And literally will do whatever it takes to go out and save a young person from a life of commercial sex or from being violated in there. Your district attorney there in Riverside County, Mike Hestron, runs a Internet Crimes Against Children program called SAFE, and that's true over in San Bernardino. And you have a real hero of mine, Chief Bobby Green out of Fontana, taking on Internet Crimes Against Children. So you guys have some amazing resources in Riverside County, and I am happy to be part of the whole team. I'm only a small part. I'm the training and outreach coordinator, but I want you all to know just how valuable the resources are in a time like this. That And nobody seems to think, I hear about defunding police. I think, who's going to protect your child? Who is going to be that person that's willing to do that hard undercover investigation or go out and find your child if they're being put out into prostitution? When I hear that kind of thing, it just drives me crazy that anybody would want to defund it. We need twice as much funding as we currently have, and we need to do it to protect you and your community. This is Opal Singleton. The show is called Exploited Crimes and Technology. We are up against that break, so we'll be right back.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. We appreciate you listening to this show. You know, every now and then I run into people that listen to this show and they tell me they share this show. They're real fans of the show, and it just makes me feel really, really good. I was at the dry cleaner a few months back, and the guy, all I did was order my dry cleaning, and the guy goes, "Are you Opal?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that's what my mama named me. You know? Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you that listen to this show and share it. All of these shows, by the way, are archived at millionkids.org. That's millionkids.org. You can go on there. You can see the old shows. You can pass them off to other people. By the way, I don't know if you know that, but even if you have people out of the area and you want them to hear our show, you can do that by going to am590theanswer.com. That's am590theanswer.com. And they can listen in live, even if they're not in the Inland Empire area. And again, they're all archived. Well, I'm off on a tangent, and I want to take you on this little trip with me. I'm not really sure where this conversation's going to go. That's a little dangerous for someone on the radio. Anyway, let's hope I don't get my house, but I get Zoom bombed here. But I just want to open your eyes to some things. 90% of sex trafficking cases take place through social media. I would think that number is more like 95. Both the solicitation of sex trafficking, where they meet up on a dating site, or they fall in love with somebody, they get that fantasy relationship, they sneak out to meet up with them, then they get put into it. And once they're into commercial sex, they're advertised out on sex sites. They finally just closed down another sex site. It was called CityX Guide. Should have been shut down a long time ago. The biggest one that used to be in business was called Backpage. I did a survey, a whole research study of Backpage just 31 days before they were shut down. They were shut down for money laundering. Anyway, in Riverside and San Bernardino only, on one web page at that time was 96,000 sex ads. And so what you're going to see is that social media is an important part of the criminal activity, the criminal underground. While you use it to communicate, to be friends, it's also being used for crime and major crime. And so that's one of the reasons that I study and do these advanced technology apps. By the way, those of you that have followed us at all, you know that I have been on a quest for a long time to do a documentary that I want to have free to every school in America. And it's futuristic, it's high tech, it's special effects, and it's 45 minutes. And it will share with kids all about the internet, all about how it works, where naked photos go when you hit send, how the clear web works, how the dark web works, how pedophiles will use technology to access, groom, recruit, and exploit our kids, but how it can also be used for the very good. You see, I think most of our kids live right there in that middle bracket where they use it for social interaction, for gaming, for playing games on each other, for Zoom bombing, for Twitter bombing, whatever they're going to do. But few of them have the vision of how valuable this could be if used wisely. But they also need to understand the other end of that spectrum, and that is how bad guys, how pedophiles, how pimps, predators. You see, a world without borders for our kids is a world without borders for pimps and predators, pedophiles, gangs, cartels, and organized crime. And we cannot put our children in an environment that we don't define for them. And the reason we don't define it for them is in this world, what has happened is the kids know more than the parents. So this is the first one. None of these apps come with any warning. It's only when it really goes wrong. We put our kid on there thinking our kid's some sort of brilliant, better than most kids, going to be smart and not get violated. And we wag our finger at them and we try to check, but you get busy and you might even put a couple of filters or trackers on them. Except these kids are pretty darn smart. And I guarantee you, if you have it on there, they can get around it. If you have a calculator on your kid's phone, they're not adding and subtracting, they're hiding other apps. Those are called ghost apps, okay? And if your kid has a Rinsta, an Instagram account that's real that you're seeing, they probably have a Finsta too, which is their fake one. And beware if your kid is in TikTok Thought, THOT, that's pornographic part of TikTok. So all of our kids are smarter than us. And we're running along. They get these new apps. They just are geniuses. And they are. We run along behind them, wagging our finger, going, "You be careful on that thing now." Yeah. And we hope and we pray they're okay. But it's all changing. And this is the purpose of my documentary. I've written a book called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. And this will be the first generation in all of history that'll be able to reach the entire world. It's also the first generation that can reach our kid, the entire world. can reach our kid. Does that give you cold chills? Hello? Well, that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I'm doing a documentary, and that's why over the course of the rest of this show, I want to talk about some things. You see, what I want to talk about is what happens when social media just becomes media. And that hit me like a ton of bricks the other day. I think I was on my way back from Virginia filming the documentary. It's supposed to be out next February. If any of you want to support that work, we would surely appreciate a donation to do that. You can do that by going to millionkids.org and make that donate button. It can be either for the donation for the documentary or the donation for us to sit with parents and sit with kids and to educate them and educate you on this. But I want to really get back to this idea of what happens when social media is no longer social media, but is in fact just media. You see, when social media started, if you think back, remember MySpace? I remember MySpace. And then we have Facebook, right? And Sean Parker was one of the creators of that. And I remember seeing an interview where he called it the social validation feedback loop. And it just hit me. I thought, this man knows exactly what he's doing. You see, up till then, we all lived in family units. Remember that? We were all like part of a family instead of just part of the masses. And we would go over to each other's houses for dinner and meet for dinner and that kind of thing. And then we get this thing where we post every little piece of data that ever happened to our life. What kind of ice cream we're eating, that we have a new brand of underwear we think is specifically good, or if we've lost 15 pounds, we post that so everybody goes, whoa, baby, you're looking good. Or we have a new hairdo, we get that on there. And we're all addicted to that. And that's what Sean Parker is talking about, this social feedback loop. We post and then we wait for people to go, you're looking good, you're looking hot. And we get addicted to that. It's an adrenaline addiction. Well, that's really on steroids at this point for our kids because they have Instagram where they post a hashtag. Everybody's taking a photo. They flip it out there, and wait for people to go, this is hot. Now they got TikTok, and TikTok goes out. Do you know out of the top 10 TikTok users that 8 of them are Americans? And it's a Chinese company. You make a 15-second video and you shoot it out there so people go, how cool you are. And literally the top one had 28 million likes and the 10th one had 23 million likes. So this is that social validation feedback loop on steroids. Well, it's about to accelerate because we now have Byte, B-Y-T-E, and it's the same kind of thing as TikTok, except, and Byte is only 6 seconds. So that feedback's getting faster and faster and more addicting. What is unique about TikTok and these mass audience live streaming apps are that you can reach back to the sender. And Facebook, you have to go through Facebook to do that. But what happens on TikTok is you shoot your video out. It goes out under certain categories. You have your profile either on or off. It's got to be on if you're going to go viral. They can, the photos are geo-based. If you make those in your bedroom, they can tell where you live. But more important, it's tied to your cell phone. So you can send that out. And it's no longer like posted like on Facebook publicly, but rather they communicate directly back with you by sending your kid a text. And so this is why I think you need to be a little bit older if you're going to be on that particular device, because you send it out there. Let's say it goes to 1 million people, at least 10,000 of them are going to be bad guys. They're going to be pedophiles. And they're going to text back to your child and go, hey, baby, you are looking hot. Meet me on Instagram. Get me more of these videos. I'll get you a deal. And your kid will be head over heels in love. It is called the social validation feedback loop on steroids. This is Opal Singleton. We'll be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology coming back to you today talking about what happens when social media becomes media. And this is heavy on my heart, so I just really want to throw that out there. If you want to write to me and tell me that you're a listener and tell me a little bit about yourself, and even if you agree or disagree, let me know that. You can do that at Opal, O-P-A-L, at millionkids.org. opal@millionkids.org. So what I want to talk about is some things have happened in social media this week that really have caused me to have some pause. It kind of started way back when. You've heard me talk about how social media was used in organizing the caravans a year ago. Doesn't that seem like another lifetime ago that we were worried about tens of thousands of people crashing our border? This week, we're trying to figure out how to get out of the house kind of thing. So it all changes. But in that case, I had read an article where the cartels were using WhatsApp to bring in very, very poor people down in Guatemala and Honduras, people who had never had the money to pay a coyote. And they used WhatsApp to tell people to go to Facebook that the caravan was forming. And I read this article of a poor lady who couldn't afford it, but they were getting these poor people to put liens on whatever little property they had so that the cartel could get them into that crowd and get them rushing towards the border. The big problem with it is they never made it through the border, and now they owe their coyote money, but they were charged all along the way. You see, they were using WhatsApp and Facebook to recruit poor people who could never afford to come and then exploit them along the way, and they end up losing their homes. And all the local media here in the U.S. was all about how this administration was violating these poor people, and nobody was telling the other side of the story. This is why I say what happens when social media becomes media. It controls the message, and it begins to take a particular cause or a particular point of view, and they escalate that. If you think about the plight of those people, this woman said that they were offering to give her $4,000 to come up, but every time, I don't know if she took it or not, but she was explaining every time that they come in that masses, they're charged for food, they're charged for bedding, they're charged for everything. And in this case, they ended up having to go back home. Now they have a lien on their house that they'll never be able to pay off, that they will end up losing, and their relatives will end up losing. And that was social media to prey on very poor people. Same kind of thing will happen as the world becomes connected. You're going to have people all over the world that will be told, you're making $8,000 in Cambodia as a welder, pay us $5,000 and we will get you to America where you can make $60,000 a year as a welder, and you'll have a good life. You can make as much in 1 year as you make in 6 years, and your family will be better. Except they can't come in, and those jobs are not real, and they won't be able to do that. And that is called labor trafficking. And this is the reason why you see a lot of effort right now being put out on human trafficking at Capitol Hill, because as the world is connected by internet, what you see is it becomes a world without borders. As people are lured in, they're accessing technology, as by the end of this year, the entire world will be connected. Well, you're seeing this in the protests that are taking place. All of a sudden, a protest that's taking place in Minneapolis, now you see them simultaneously. We have one in Minneapolis, Seattle, LA, Baltimore, Atlanta, Dallas, and Paris, and, Belgium, and like that. And you see them in mass accumulated, making an impression with you. It feels like it is happening absolutely everywhere. And you're the only person that doesn't seem to be getting on board. As specific groups are taking hold of social media to take that into becoming only media, telling one side of the story, but not the other side, and making it absolutely real. As they bomb a building, they are live streaming it as they're running away. And so here you are in your living room experiencing it like you're running alongside with them. And where they build it up, they can pick and choose whatever message they want to do. And that is why I say that has become more media and less social, because what is happening now is it depends on who controls what apps and what message. For a long time now, we haven't had journalism. We haven't had that for a long time. What we really have is a high-tech editorial that masks as news releases. We see this. If you watch CNN, you get one message. You can watch Fox, and you can see the very same event, but get a different message. And what really frustrates me is to listen to somebody make a speech and then have some newscaster tell me what I heard. I hate that. What am I, some nincompoop that's not able to figure out what came into my ears and what I understand that I heard? But all of these have been taking place for a long time in the media. It's like journalism has died, because journalism now is, basically almost dead because of the media in social media. What you're actually seeing now is that this generation of teenagers will have more information provided to them than any generation that's ever lived, but they will have less truth because they have no way to verify that truth. Okay. When I look at articles, I do massive amounts of research. I'm known for tens of thousands of hours of research on these subjects of sextortion and sex trafficking. And when I look at it, I think, now, who is this person and what right do they have to write that article? What are their credentials? Where did they get their facts? You see, I came from a world that if you're going to print it and put your name on it, it better be right. A man is only as good as his word, and a woman also. And but you don't have that anymore. What you have is massive amount of people you've never heard of with an opinion or an agenda. And that is what we're seeing in many of these protests. They have an agenda, and they present it in a headline as if it's a fact. And I read that fact, that headline, and I say, how do you know? Where did you get that? Where's your facts? Where's your research on that? How do we be able to verify that? And this is important for your children. Your children will live on the front line of this for the rest of their life. They will be bombarded with information that you most likely won't agree with. But how do we teach them to have that discernment, that cognitive reasoning to say, stop, what is the point of what you're doing, and where does this go? Why do I tell you this? Because in the last week, we've seen two huge social media events that are really, I want you to think about them. We're getting ready to go into a break, but let me give you a couple of headlines. One of them is Facebook launches new censorship plan. Employees reveal anti-conservative, anti-Trump agenda. Now, that is by Andrea Morris, done on June 27th. And then here's one right here, Kaylee Lake Terrace, I think it is. New Twitter censorship rules raise transparency questions. Both of these articles are about the fact that in both of those organizations, they've had employees who are anti-conservative. Now, I'm not a political commentator. I'm a sex crimes commentator, and I need to know my place. But I look at this and I go, anytime you get into censorship, anytime you have a group of employees or company owners anywhere that decides whether or not this is information that you should have, it gives me cause for pause. Because what is happening already, you're seeing Facebook stories all over the United States, in this case, many of them conservative, that are being pulled, that are being told that they can't do it, that they are going to be pulled off, that Facebook will not allow that on there. There is no newsworthy exemption to content that incites violence and suppresses voting. They're getting very political. They're deciding what should be a discussion about the election and what should not be. And that is true of the Twitter app, and that is true of many apps that are out there. And so what you're going to find out here is that many of these are young people now will be bombarded with information from one side, but an app producer, an app owner can decide that your child shouldn't have information on the other side. And that is happening, and that is a very big concern for me. My name is Hopeful Singleton. Exploited Crimes and Technology. We'll be right back.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, there are many good restaurants in the Inland Empire, but really great restaurants are hard to find. Let me tell you about the Toasted Barrel in Corona. It's a trendy, upscale steakhouse with great pasta and seafood. It's a fantastic choice for birthdays and anniversaries or just that special night out with your loved one and friends. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant and Brunch for the past 3 years. The owners, Ed and Shirley, are friendly and attentive to your needs. If you're a prime rib connoisseur, this place is for you. Go ahead and try it out. The Toasted Barrel, located at 1300 El Sobrante Road in Corona. Or Google them at Toasted Barrel to make reservations. I guarantee you're going to love it. Be sure and tell Ed and Shirley that Opal sent you. It will be a night you'll never forget.
Nothing beats the services offered by Strike a Pose in Covina. From weddings, anniversaries, pregnancies, family heritage photos, or professional headshots for business cards and publicity, Jamie and Steve will do your makeup, get the perfect lighting and pose, and edit them so you look your best. These folks are the best in the business. Go online to strikeapose.net and make an appointment today.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about what happens when social media drops the social and just becomes media. That especially if they now control the censorship of their particular app. Why is that a problem? Because Facebook has 1.6 billion users. 1.6 billion users. And if they can pick and choose now on what you should be allowed to hear, but not be allowed to hear, we are going another direction. Now, I'm trying to not be political on this because my job here is to keep your kids safe from predators, not be political. But I want to tell you that I saw something this week that really tells you where this is going. This has to do with Representative Cortez, known as AOC. She openly cheered reports of teenagers and Korean pop music fans using the Chinese-owned app TikTok to sign up for President Trump's campaign. Now, I have a whole lot of research on this, but basically what they did is TikTok is a popular app. It's the biggest in the world now. It surpassed Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. It is a Chinese-owned company. Chinese is even releasing their own Bitcoin before too long. And our kids are the number one users on that. This is the app I was telling you where you can send out a 15-second video, and then they can reach back to you by text. What happened is that they organized a what they call a Zoom bombing, basically, through a group out of Korea called K-pop. And it's a Korean pop music company. And they went through TikTok, and in this case, this actually got big enough that it got the attention of Capitol Hill. What happened is that they passed laws in China that allow a communist-controlled authoritarian, I can't say it off, government to access any data that Chinese companies obtain. So let me explain on there. Your child signs up for TikTok. Your profile's either on or off, but they freeze frame your facial recognition. Okay, so they know what your child looks like because your child's going to distort their face and have a lot of fun with it. But the company has that. They have their profile and they have their mobile phone. And so what has happened in this case is AOC gets involved with this, and they get all these kids to go on and start basically doing what they call a Zoom bombing kind of thing. They got a whole lot of these kids to sign up for the Trump rally so that anybody who wanted to go to the Trump rally couldn't go because all the tickets were sold out. It was meant to sabotage the day with Trump and also to show him that he had a lot of empty seats and like that. But I don't really care about the politics of this. I don't care one way or the other about Trump or AOC. I wouldn't know AOC if I tripped over. But what got me here is that this representative is supporting a Chinese company working with a Korean company to get our kids to Zoom bomb this so that, in fact, she goes on, actually, you just got rocked by teens on TikTok is what she's saying. Now, this is the same TikTok that's being investigated by the Democrats. Chuck Schumer here. Cotton and Schumer were concerned that the Chinese government was censoring content, and media reports have alleged that the app was removing videos that were politically sensitive in China. Are you kidding me? We're doing that with Facebook and Instagram. And yet you have these people here going, well, TikTok's doing this, and we have to be real concerned about what's going on. But in the meantime, someone from their own party, AOC, is getting kids to Zoom bomb Trump's meeting so that the people who wanted to go could not go. So they're using a Chinese company to get our kids to go in and falsify the fact they knew they weren't going to go. They encouraged our kids to lie and get the ticket and say they weren't going to go, so that those people who wanted to go and exercise their right to free speech and their right to attend a political rally could not go because they could not get tickets. And it's a fascinating thing. I want you to think about the power of that and what has happened. Because in doing this, they have, on the one hand, they are literally censoring people that they don't agree with, meaning Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And the Democrat, Schumer, is accusing TikTok of censoring in China. And yet they have one of our House of Representatives encouraging teenagers to use that same Chinese app to go in and falsify the fact that they thought they were going, so that nobody else could participate in their right to assemble to support a particular electoral event. So I share this with you because what is happening is social media has become media. And I just want to stir your thoughts on it. You may agree, you may not agree. That's fine with me. I'm not here to win an election. I'm not running for any office, trust me. But I want to open your eyes to where this is going. This is why we're doing the documentary. I want people to understand the power of where this is going. Our kids will live in a world without borders. They literally will be online right now. By the end of the year, they'll be online with over 6 billion people. If you put your child out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok, they're already on there with more than 1 billion people. And these are people, some of them are good, some of them aren't. Some of them will do whatever they can to get your kid's naked photo, and your kid needs to understand that. That's why we want the documentary. But I also think that we need to talk to our kids about what is truth. You are going to have more information in front of you than any generation ever. We already have. Everywhere we look, we see coordinated efforts of Twitter and hashtags on Instagram being fed into the news media that is now telling you what you just heard some speakers speak and feeding you with the particular pictures they want you to see. Do you know there was a whole firebombing of a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Oakland that never made it to most of the news houses because it didn't fit the narrative of what you're seeing in other protests that you're seeing? So they're picking and choosing what you see to form your opinion, and then they are keeping you from being able to see information that they don't agree with. So we need to stop in our tracks and start to understand and begin to prepare our kids to live in a world without borders and understand what happens when social media just becomes media. Media with a message, media with a cause, media with a particular bias. And you better understand that when you start hearing it, and so that you can discern what is truth and what is not. My name is Opal Singleton. This show is brought to you by Million Kids. If you know of any situations of child sex trafficking or sextortion or social media exploitation or child pornography, call 1-888-373-7888 and report that if you will. If you're interested in supporting our work, I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, I would truly appreciate it. These are the toughest times we have ever been in with this COVID virus. We still are only doing Zoom presentations. I don't see any hope for live presentations for several months now, and that is how we make our money. We have funded the documentary. We are on our way. If you want to support the work of setting with parents or helping kids, we'd sure appreciate it. If you want to support the work of getting that documentary documentary and that film out there as it's coming out. We would truly appreciate that. You can do that by going to millionkids.org, MILLION, millionkids.org, and I would highly appreciate it. I would also appreciate it if you want to write to me at opal@millionkids.org and let me know who you are and if this show is helpful or if it got your dander up. Go ahead and tell me that too. I'm tough. I can take it. These are interesting times, aren't they? I keep saying, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Will we ever return to normal? But it's been going on so long, I can't remember what normal is. I see all these protests and I get all these opinions on COVID, and I see now we're headed into an election year and everybody's struggling financially because of the lack of work. And I just think to myself, what an interesting year we are living in. But we're tough. We're going to grow. We're going to learn from it. And we're going to teach our kids to be leaders in a time of adversity. There will be plenty of good that comes out of this, and our kids will grow up stronger than anything you can ever imagine. This is Opal Singleton from millionkids.org. I so much appreciate you listening. I hope you share this show with everyone you know, and I hope you'll join us next Saturday at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590. The Answer. Have a great week, folks. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology, coming to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. Hey, I want to tell you about one of my heroes, Doris Anderson. She's a realtor over at Remax Realty in Upland. Her phone number, 951-733-8899. Doris has pledged $500 from every house she closes. There's a woman who supports an important cause.